Hi everyone, welcome and thank you for joining today. We'll be giving people just another minute or so to join and we'll get it started. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. My name is Ricardo. I'm a strategic customer success manager here at GitLab. And today we'll be going over the basics of GitLab in this introductory webinar. Before we do, I just want to cover that this webinar is being recorded, so you'll be receiving the recording the next day or so. Also, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A section of the webinar, as our team will be answering them live through the webinar. Today's webinar will cover the foundational concepts of usage of GitLab, primarily focus on how things are organized, the terminology, navigating the UI, and the fundamentals for tracking work. The recommended GitLab flow will also be covered for a feature branch development workflow. And just to let you know that the upcoming webinars that we'll be presenting in the future include an introduction to CI/CD, advanced CI/CD, and DevSecOps and Compliance 1. And those will be a great follow-up to today's session. So please keep your eyes out for the webinars calendar, in which you can find links to register for these webinars. All right, so GitLab. GitLab is the first and only true DevOps platform. It's a single application with one user interface, a unified data store, one permission model, and security embedded within the DevOps lifecycle. With this, in a single application, it combines the ability to plan, develop, secure, release, as well as operate and monitor software within a single application that is easier to use and maintain, with a complete visibility and traceability across the DevOps lifecycle. With GitLab as a partner, every team in your organization can collaborate in a single solution to manage the end-to-end development lifecycle, and thus delivering more value faster, increasing visibility, quality, and security, while remove context switching and non-value generating tasks. So this slide shows a good overview of all the capabilities you can get with GitLab. So you might ask, why are so many organizations using GitLab for, and what is the problem that this is solving? We are helping teams move from sequential DevOps to concurrent DevSecOps. The reality is that even though some or all teams may adopt DevOps, their tools, the processes, and even the culture, they often optimize locally, but still work sequentially, and then work from one team to another. And the consequence is that it limits organizations from truly realizing the value of DevOps, where teams need to work together and have a single conversation, starting from idea to production around smaller deliverables. In a traditional sequential DevOps approach, each function is running in silos using their own tools. They may be locally optimized, but that creates a lot of handoff, tool friction, as every team is handing over to the next one. However, as organizations are wanting a way to move faster and more efficiently, they are adopting GitLab concurrent DevSecOps module. And this approach offers a way to get teams to work together at the same time and collaborate in a single pane of glass, so to speak, to design, build, test, deliver, and even monitor code changes. The teams must work concurrently, not sequentially, on the product or service they will be delivering to the customer. And at the same time, by moving security left, vulnerabilities are caught earlier in the development lifecycle, preventing issues from reaching production and creating issues for your own clients or customers. Now that I've given you an overview of GitLab, it's time to dig right into our recommended workflow across all the stages in GitLab. And as you can see in this infographic, there are many steps to get from an idea to a solution deployed to production. This graph shows the GitLab flow process, and this process can apply to anything, either a bug, a feature, or a security vulnerability. So as you organize your work all the way from an epic to milestone and all the way down to an issue and assign that issue to a developer, they will start their work on a new feature branch. And the idea is that all the work is being done currently, and typically there are multiple feature branches going through this automated build and test process, as well as security scans that will then later be merged into the main branch. There are a few components that we'll not be covering here, such as the review app. So if you are interested in that, we'll talk about it in the intro to CI/CD and also the advanced CI/CD. And while Git allows a wide variety of branching strategies and workflows, what we often see is that because of this, many organizations end up with workflows that are too complicated, not clearly defined, and not integrated with issue tracking systems. And therefore, we propose GitLab Flow as a clearly defined set of best practices, as it combines feature-driven development and feature branches with issue tracking. The GitLab Flow is a clearly defined set of best practices. So with this, we get a simplified branching strategy. All features and fixes first go to main, allows for production or stable branches as well, and bug fixes or hotfix patches are cherry-picked from main. And we recommend for DevOps team to follow the GitLab flow process while using GitLab capabilities within a concurrent event lifecycle. Again, the GitLab application is based around the feature branch-based workflow. So with this, all developers will work in a single project and create a feature branch in that same project. The merge request is the core and primary collaboration tool of the product. The gray line at the bottom of the slide shows the main branch. Notice another gray line that breaks off the main branch and eventually ties back to the main. And this is what's known as a feature branch. The feature branch represents the source code pattern where a developer opens a branch and begins working on a new feature, and that work is soon integrated into the main branch again. We begin this whole process by creating a discrete unit of work while creating an issue. Think it of as a ticket. And we assign the issue to a team member. From the issue, we spawn a feature branch. Think it of as a parallel line of development, and developers move to a branch to interact with the request. GitLab provides updates and notifications on the state of your issue automatically. So if you work with a feature branch for more than a few hours, it's a best practice to share the result with your immediate team. And it might not be ready to be merged yet, but feedback should be welcomed. So your team can make comments on the merge request in general or on specific lines. The merge request serves as the code review tool, and no separate tool should be needed. So when you are comfortable with your work and the comments made, you can assign it to someone who knows the most about the code base, or someone that has permission to merge it back to the main branch. And we also have code review and conflict resolution built into the platform for merge conflicts. So the commit here kicks an automated continuous integration pipeline that runs and goes through the steps to the right of the slide. And the advantage is that developers have visibility into what is going on the cycle. So now we'll be talking a little bit about the GitLab terminology and some components that we'll be referring throughout the course. So we'll become more familiar with them as well. And the GitLab uses terminology for its components that is a little bit different from other systems that you might have used. So Let me go through them. First, we have the project, and the project is the core building block where the work is organized, managed, tracked, and delivered to help the team to collaborate and plan work in the form of issues. So whenever you are starting a new project, you can think about creating, whenever you are creating a new product, or you want to define a project as a single product within your company. And then the group is its collection of projects or subgroups. You can think about them as if they were folders. So you can compile multiple projects on business units, or you can also have people groups and assign those groups to specific projects. And this is super useful if you want to manage access that way. If you work within a specific squad with a set of front-end, back-end engineers and project managers, you can assign those squads to a specific project by creating a people group with that specific set of people there. And we'll be discussing this a little bit more in detail on the next slide as well. The issue that I previously mentioned is a part of a project, and is the fundamental unit or the fundamental planning object, where the team is documenting the use case in the description, discusses the approach, estimates the size and effort. You can also track the actual time and effort there. And this is where also you assign work and track its progress. On other uses, other projects or products is also known as story or narrative. The epic is a collection of related issues across different groups and projects to help organize all these issues by a specific theme. Then we also have the merge request, which on other systems might be also known as pull request. And the merge request is essentially the linkage between the issue and the actual code changes. This is where you capture the design, the implementation details, and specific code changes. The team discusses and reviews code and approaches that are being taken there. It might also require approvals. For example, if you want to wait for someone with more authority or more experience within that specific part of the project to approve your change. And then there's also a compilation of the testing results after the CI pipeline is run. And you can also see there the results of the security scans, whether the merge request that this developer is doing is introducing new vulnerabilities or not. And you might want to take some action and fix those vulnerabilities first. Then the label is used to tag and track work for a project or group and associate issues with different initiatives. So if you have a specific due date or a specific OKR that you want to put all those issues together, you can use a label to tag that specific work. And then this will be very valuable if you want to create visual listings for issues with a specific label on a board, which is the next item that we have there. This might be super relevant as well. So then the board will be the visual listing of projects and issues. And those are very useful for teams to manage their backlog of work. This is where they prioritize items and move issues to their team or specific stage in the project. The milestone, which is also known as release or sprint, is a sprint of deliverables, and it helps you to organize the code, issues, and merge requests into a cohesive group. And last but not least, the roadmap is then the visual representation of the various epics for the group. Now that we know all these terminologies, let's talk also about the GitLab hierarchy and how this all comes together. So this is super important whenever you are setting up your GitLab infrastructure. Coming up with some good practices for the groups and subgroups and how you organize things is super important because of the permissions. Which is the first thing that I want to talk about. So at GitLab, essentially the permissions are inherited down from the top level groups. So add users with the least permission there and give them higher permissions at the subgroup or project level. Also, it's relevant to know that labels and milestones created at the top level group are available to all subgroups and projects. So add shared labels at the highest level possible so that people can reuse them instead of creating their own. This will be also relevant whenever you are tracking issues. So a typical use case that we are representing here is where you have a top level group, typically could be the name of the organization. And then you have, let's say, one main project directly from the top level group with different issues, and each issue then will have comments, participants, and assignments. And then you might also have a different subgroup, let's say a different division within the organization that also has multiple projects. And again, these projects will have their own issues as well. So this is just a representation. We might have some more examples on the documentation. Feel free to ask questions, but we are just representing one use case here, hopefully to make all these terminologies making sense. Cool. So let's also discuss a GitLab workflow example. So let's take the example of creating and discussing within a new issue. So the way it goes and the way we should start is by having a team member creating an issue inside GitLab for a new feature they'll be implementing. The team member applies the label discussion to the issue. Various team members might also discuss the new feature by entering comments into the issue. Then this issue will now appear on the project issue board in the discussion list because we have that label there. Other labels that we can also include for this project could be backend or frontend, working on, staging, ready, or even production. The second step will be the code creation. So let's say this would be some work for the backend team. The backend team will start working on the issue and changes the label to backend to reflect the status. The assigned developer starts writing the code and assigns the issue to themselves and changes also the label to working on to give some information to the team that they have started working on it. After some work is done, they commit and create a merge request. So the flow here is the developer first creates the commit. The developer pushed their commit to a feature branch. The developer will then create a merge request that is basically asking request to merge that piece of code that he just created into the main branch. And then also the backend will remove the backend label and working on labels and add just the front end to make sure that the front end team can now follow that work that is started. Then if everything goes well, you'll then deploy to staging. So the front end developer starts working on the issue, adding the label working on, and assign the issue to themselves. After the code review is completed, the code is deployed to staging and the team removes the label and adds staging label. After some successful implementation in staging, the team removes the staging label and finally adds the label ready. What ready means, it might be different from company to company. In this example, it means that other teams will prepare the technical documentation, a marketing campaign, for example, and each will be adding their labels docs and marketing. As each team is done, they remove their labels. The last team done removes the ready label and adds the production label, which means that everything was done and this initial issue and change is now ready to go to production. So the release team member merges the merge request and the feature is deployed to the production environment. And finally, the release team member closes the issue. So taking this example, what does this look like in GitLab? So here you can see we are in the top level group, and you can see all of the subgroups and projects underneath this group. Groups have the 3 dots icon, whereas projects have the book icon. So on the left, you can see all areas that you can navigate to within this group. So we click there, and here are the list of all the epics within the group. Reminder that an epic is a collection of related issues across different groups and projects to help organize by theme. The example that we are doing here is just searching for epics using keywords or by filtering by a label. In this example, we are searching for all non-confidential items with the label priority 3. So whether a portfolio initiative or investment or a capability or feature or simply a large story, use an epic to capture its description, business use case, and or any data pertinent to describe the large body of work. An epic has a title, headline, and a body description, and you can set a manual start and or end dates, or inherit from issues from within the epic. And you can also apply labels to the epic here directly, as we previously done and saw on the issue. So as you scroll down to the epic page, you can see a section where we break down a large epic into discrete logical pieces for individual independent tracking with child epics and issues. These are all hierarchical and dynamic, and you can click to expand these. Epics are designated by the stack of papers, and issues are designated by a single sheet of paper icon. Some of these features might only be available on Ultimates. So while child epics are only available in Ultimate, if you are a premium customer, then you'll only be able to see issues that are linked to the epic. And also the health status here that we see, the green, yellow, and red numbers are essentially representations of how many issues are on track and need attention or are at risk within that specific epic. So this is a list of all the issues within the group. Although issues belong to individual projects, this view shows all the issues in all of the projects under this group. And similar to the epic view, this list can be filtered by a keyword or by relevant metadata such as author, assignee, milestone, label, etc. And you can see this information about each issue in the list view, including labels, assignees, weight, associated merge requests, comments, and more. And labels are infinitely flexible and can be used to identify the type of issue. So you can just use type and then double dots bug. The priority of the issue with a priority and double dots 2. The product grouping for distribution. If it is related to your user experience, you can put UX, for example. You can become very creative with this. So in this screen, we are showing an example of doing a search using both a label and a milestone. So filtering by a scoped label and the upcoming milestone for GitLab. This can be combined with other search parameters, including the author, the assignee, the iteration, and keyword searches. As you add additional search parameters or adjust the sorting, the URL in your browser will be updated with the appropriate query string parameters, so you can save the exact same query and sorting by bookmarking the page, or maybe share with someone else by copy pasting into a Slack message, email, or a GitLab issue, for example. This shows the details of a given issue with the title and description as well. as metadata on the right. Right above the title, you have the status open or closed. When the issue was created, you can over to see the exact date and time, and the original author of the issue with their role in the project as well. Within the description of the issue, you can use Markdown to format your text, create sections, order and unordered lists, checklists that can track tasks needed for the issue to be closed. There's a few things here in this highlighted area that you can see. So you have the assignees, epics that this issue, the epic that this issue belongs to, the labels that we put there, milestone issue, the iteration issue, and also the issue 8, which is an integer used to show related difficulty. So what happens is after an issue has been assigned a weight, you can see this added up for issues in a list or issue board, or on a milestone page as the total sum of issue 8s. These are all positive numbers, and common patterns to assign here are the Fibonacci sequence or whole numbers aligned to t-shirt sizes as well. You can also have here the due date. You have an option also for the time tracking, where people will be able to see the estimated time needed to complete the issue and how much time they have spent so far. And then the health status, as I mentioned before, is this ultimate feature that helps you to reference this issue as on track, requiring attention, or at risk. So if we scroll down on this issue, you'll see the associated merge requests and related issues and discussions. You can have threaded conversations, and you can mention someone on other users to bring their attention or request their action on a specific issue. Each issue or comment can be reacted via an emoji as well. You use this all the time at GitLab to track support from team members, community members, and our customers on issues that have the most upvotes. So we typically use the thumbs up to help influence our product prioritization as well. So here is basically an issue and example on a group discussion. So on the left side, we are seeing the related issues, the issues that are blocking the current issue, related merge requests, and then some links which are clickable. So all these items will be referencing to the specific issue that is related or being blocked. And on the right side, we have just some more visibility on the discussion area. So this is where all the comments will be made on the issues. This is where you can have conversations that relate to the work that you are doing to achieve this common goal. This is where you can also mention other team members, and those will generate notifications for those members when their attention is needed. So the most common alert here is sending an email. And also note that all emails sent from the system will have a classification banner on emails if that is desired. Boards that we previously talked about give the ability to visualize and organize the issues. The boards can be filtered similar to the issue list. So you can have columns in the board based on the label, milestone, assignee, and more. You can have multiple boards as well and switch between them easily. And this board is at the group level and shows the issues of all projects underneath this group. Then merge requests. So with the merge requests, you can get a complete view of all aspects of the change being made to the code base. You can see that the latest pipeline progress, you can review and approve the changes as well. And you can review the security scan results all in one place. Additionally, GitLab makes it easy to start and track progress of a code review. You can add general comments to start a review, or you can tag individual lines of code with a specific comment. So GitLab CI/CD, what you are looking here is a full pipeline graph of all the jobs in a GitLab CI/CD pipeline. So there's a few things on the terminology as well that I want to make sure we are on the same line. So when I'm referring to CI/CD, I mean continuous integration and continuous delivery or deployment. This is the piece from GitLab that allows for built-in automated tests to be run on the code as you make changes. And this part of GitLab encourages collaboration across all departments and makes code creation and management easy, as well as it provides the following specific benefits. So first, early error detection. Whenever you are creating a new feature branch to work on your code and you run the pipeline there, you are identifying the errors very early in the software development lifecycle, which will then make the team becoming more efficient. And then the continuous delivery, which is the ability to deliver more value and deliver this value quickly and more often, and ensures that every change is releasable. So basically what we do here is a test that can be either for production or to a stage environment, but you are integrating your code directly to what will be the final product. So the group labels. This view shows the labels at the group level, and those can be filtered by a keyword to find the relevant labels. This is showing all the priority labels in this group, and these are using a scope label feature for that lets you create a name value pair for labels, so only one of each category can be applied at a time. So in this example, you can only have one type of priority. And you can create labels for lots of different purposes, and they can be applied to epics, issues, and merge requests. When talking about group milestones, these are a way to group issues and merge requests together in a block of time. Milestones have a defined start and end date and can include any number of issues and merge requests as you want. Here we all see the milestones for this group, and any milestones created for projects in the group. You can get a summary view of the number of issues and merge requests in the milestone and how far along it is. You can also drill into these to see the burn down and up charts associated with the milestone. Some navigation tips. So there's a lot of ways to navigate in GitLab. On the left, you can easily switch to view different types of data within the group or project you are currently viewing. At the top here, center, you have breadcrumbs that show you where you are in the project hierarchy. And at the very top, you can see whatever you change views in the GitLab, the URL will also change. So remember that example, whenever you were filtering a board with multiple filters or labels there, this is where you'll see the changes being reflected. And you can use these URLs to send information to your team directly. And here we are using the breadcrumbs to navigate back up to the top level group. So just a quick example there. And from the group page, we can click Create Project button to create a new project. We'll then have options to create a blank project, import one, or create from a template. So let's talk a little bit about the professional services as well, and how can you improve the knowledge as this is just a first introduction to GitLab. There's a lot more, and we cannot cover everything within the hour. So we have several trainings to offer teams getting started with GitLab. Each training allows up to 12 students from your organization And to see the current pricing, please visit our catalog page linked here, which you'll be also be sent after the webinar. So we have trainings that include the GitLab with Git basic training. And this one covers what GitLab does, why DevOps teams use it, and how it works with Git. It also covers some key processes and tasks the teams work on in GitLab, such as committing changes, creating branches, merge requests, using a CI/CD pipeline, and assessing security scanning. And it also includes access to the GitLab certified associate assessments. We also have a GitLab for project managers training, which covers how to set up projects by creating issues, labels, milestones, and groups. Approaches for managing projects using GitLab boards, epics, and roadmaps, how to report on those as well, and some best practices for using GitLab to develop portfolio plans. Then we also have the GitLab DevOps Fundamentals training, which is the most comprehensive of these three, covers all key features and capabilities for each stage in the GitLab DevOps lifecycle throughout the 4 courses. And then we also have the Migration Plus. So if you need training in migration system, the Migration Plus package provides source code migration from a single source system and adds 3 standard education services to help users and administrators to level up quickly on GitLab. So you may consider a professional services-led migration if you are moving hundreds or thousands of repos into GitLab, and or if you are moving from a self-managed instance to a SaaS offering by maintaining data integrity. We can share additional benefits documented in our handbook and in our Congregate open source migration tool documentation. So now we'll jump just to the Q&A section. I'll be answering some of the questions that were not answered so far on the chat. If not, I'll just stop the recording and end up the webinar.